Well, everyone, so much talking about iOS and iPhones is making me hungry to talk about Samsung again and all these older Androids. So let's take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S8 and see how it holds up in the middle of 2021. Now, I don't think this video is going to be super long. I'm hoping to keep around 5 minutes. I don't want to make these like 50 minutes long, to be honest. But the Galaxy S8 is one of those devices that I just love. So this video is going to be a 45-minute video. Now, starting off, I will tell you, there have been some interesting changes with the Galaxy S8. First of all, the whole entire lineup of the S8, S8 Plus officially stopped getting security updates as far as I can tell. So that's kind of a fairly sad thing. I think it's like totally okay. It was a given. It was going to happen at some point. The Galaxy S7 actually lasted for quite a bit of time, but the S8, a solid phone in terms of the longevity. I am one of those people, kind of like a Galaxy S8 believer, that Samsung, for some reason, the hardware just outlasts the software. If this phone were to get the next version of software, or even right now on Android 12, it could last theoretically forever. This is a perfect phone for so many people out there. It's not perfect in general for everyone, but for some people it could be, probably even including me. The front of this phone, that 5.8-inch Super AMOLED display, is still extremely beautiful. When I compare this display to a Galaxy S21 display, an iPhone 12 Pro display, so on and so forth, this is still a very solid phone. And in my opinion, when I looked at my OnePlus 9 and I looked at my Galaxy S8, visually the S8 looks better, even though the OnePlus 9 has, the higher refresh rate. This is still a really good panel. And the front of this phone, I think, is the biggest asset for this specific device. Curved display, this is a beautiful phone and definitely one of the highlights of this device for sure. USB Type-C port, headphone jack, and a micro SD card on this specific device as well. Another humongous plus point. And you have glass on the back with wireless charging with that single camera setup. The body of this thing still feels extremely good. Nothing has changed there. And as I mentioned, this is one of the biggest highlights of this type of device. Feeling it in the hand, it feels better than my Galaxy S21, which is extremely sad for my S21. Like I spent like $800, $700, however much it was. And I don't want to spend that much money on a device that doesn't feel as good as a Galaxy S8. I'm going to buy it anyway. But that's definitely one of the crazier things in my opinion. Now we do have to hit on the camera. Nothing has changed with the camera at all. It's still pretty much the same thing it's been for the last couple of years. I will tell you though, camera wise, it's not bad. No 4K at 60, but still 4K at 30. As we kind of get into this 8K realm, I have been kind of thinking to myself, yes, phones with 4K at 30 are pretty much going to be outdated. Whenever I think of 4K at 30, I think of the iPhone 6s, which is a pretty outdated phone, even though it's still software, supported. And, I'm just one of those people that, 4K at 60 is perfect for the next couple of years. But now that the OnePlus 9 has 8K at 30, it's probably going to, start transitioning to that specific dilemma. So front camera though, 8 megapixel sensor with a 2 megapixel iris scanner, pretty decent camera on the front. I will definitely tell you the front camera is definitely not as good quality wise as the back camera as always. And even compared to other 2017 phones like the iPhone 10, the S8's front camera really was never that good, but I think camera wise it's still pretty decent. So in terms of camera, that covers it up here. And I think probably the worst thing about this phone and the saddest thing about this phone is the software lifecycle. I'm saddened that this thing only stopped at Android 9. It started off with Android 7, so it really only got 2 versions of software, which is really dumb. This is without a doubt one of those phones that probably had the saddest lifespan of any device in my opinion. Visually, even between the Galaxy S8 and the Galaxy S9, there was such a little difference in those two updates that it could have easily supported, even now on a One UI 3. This thing could even get One UI 5. I don't really think there's going to be anything super crazy. It's just minor improvements here and there. And I kind of do think that at that point, getting a phone like the Samsung Galaxy S8 with the latest software is a very cool thing and a very good option. Unfortunately, we're in this day and age where, I guess Samsung is increasing their lifespan for their Galaxy S10 and newer, which is a very smart thing to do as well. But this specific device, I feel could have gotten it if the S9 and the S10, the S10 was a great update, but the S8 regardless, still a very good phone when it comes down to everything else except the software in my opinion. Now we will hit on the performance. This thing isn't getting any faster, it's getting slower over time, but it did have that Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 chipset, octa-core CPU with 4 gigs of RAM, and I've said this before and I'll continue to say it, this phone's performance isn't bad. I feel if this thing got One UI 2 with that gesture-based design, that full gesture-based design, that would have made this phone seem a much better deal in my opinion. I feel getting a phone like this with this type of caliber, I don't know the best way to explain it, but it was just a little bit of a different device in my opinion in terms of the performance segment. I feel like getting a phone that's getting slower over time is not my forte. I don't like that kind of thing at all, and I would rather get a phone that, has the future ahead of it rather than getting a phone that's going to be outdated, as soon as you buy it. And I think with the Galaxy S8, it's a solid phone in all those other areas, but it's kind of a sad phone when it comes down to the performance, and this kind of is tied to the software as well. Had it gotten, maybe a couple more software updates with One UI 2 and One UI 3, maybe it could have been, a much more solid phone, something like maybe like a Pixel 2 XL. That phone came out the same year as here, and even though I would rather have a Pixel 2 XL over the S8, you can't, look over the fact that the Galaxy S8 still looks and feels much better and probably is one of the best looking phones that came out of 2017, to be honest. So in terms of performance, that covers it up there. And to kind of sum up this video and to answer this mid 2021 review, should you still buy a Samsung Galaxy S8? I will tell you, if you are in desperate need of a device, like you need a phone right now, and this is only one of the other options that you get, then I would say probably go for it. There's really not too much you're going to miss out on, but you're definitely going to be, I think doing yourself a disservice if you buy a phone like this and you plan on keeping it for a long period of time. You should not buy this phone to keep it more than like a month or two and as a main device. However, if you want to buy this phone and maybe keep it as something else or whatever, like a side device or something, then go for it. But I would not buy a Galaxy S8 and keep it as your main phone because of the lack of security updates, the lack of software updates, the lack of just all this other stuff. It's kind of missing out on some features. Visually it looks good, physically it feels great, but I would not recommend using this phone on an everyday basis in my opinion. So in terms of that pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section as well. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much for you guys to hit that. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.